It's Warren from Umpire-Empire. In this episode of Quick Tips, we're going to discuss baseball rules. On top of that, we're going to bust some myths. I love baseball rules, but as much as I love baseball rules, I love busting baseball rule myths. So let's take a look at some myths today. However, before we do, I want to talk about the sources of these myths. My number one source for baseball rule myths are announcers. They're on TV, so everybody gives them authority and credibility they don't deserve, even though they had wonderful playing careers and seem very knowledgeable and they speak with confidence. They don't know squat about the rules. Second, coaches. From Little League all the way to the highest levels of amateur and professional baseball, the coaches don't know the rules, and they help perpetuate rule myths. I was speaking to someone once about why is it that coaches are so bad at rules, and someone was saying, well, baseball's a game that 80% of the game is played with 20% of the rules. So they're good in that 20%. You leave that area, they're lost. And that's where we as umpires need to step in. So they really don't know the rules, even though they've made it to the highest echelons of baseball. And then we also have to put blame on the parents. Parents fall victim to the announcers, to their coaches when they were younger. So they pass that on to their children. And then finally, guys, I have to blame umpires. Poor umpires who make decisions based on rules myth and help perpetuate them. That's a real problem in our game. So I'm going to bust 3 myths today. And the first one is tie goes the runner. I don't want to hear the semantics of there can never be a tie as you go to the infinite decimal point. There will be one ahead of the other. But we're not going there. Because as the rules state, 7.01, a runner acquires the right to an unoccupied base when he touches it before he is out. So if there was a tie and he touched it at the same time is not before. So he's still out. He's then entitled to it until he's put out, forced to vacate it for another runner legally entitled to that base. So this one's a pretty easy one to bust. Tie goes the runner, busted. Our next myth, presenting a bunt is always a strike. I don't know exactly where this one has come from. Someone once told me that there's a softball rule, but I know nothing about softball, so I'm not going to address that at all. But let's take a look at the rule itself. The definition of a strike. A strike is a legal pitch when so called by the umpire, which is struck at by the batter and is missed. So, what are we looking for? It's a judgment call of the umpire. So the umpire is looking for an attempt to make actual contact. Generally speaking, that's going to be raising or lowering the head of the bat towards the ball. I've seen so many times a ball come in low and the batter raise the tip of the head of the bat. That is not a strike. He's getting out of the way. So he's got to make an attempt at the swinging. So presenting a bunt is always a strike. That one is also easily busted. Now this third rule, myth, it's a little bothersome to me. I had a recent discussion with some fellow umpires, and this topic came up. And some people I really respect were on the wrong side of the rule on this one. So let's talk about this one. It is running lane interference anytime the batter runs inside the foul line. So let's take a look at the rule itself, 509A, number 11. A batter is out when, in running the last half of the distance from home plate to first base, while the ball is being fielded to first base, he runs outside to the right of the 3-foot line or inside to the left of the foul line, and in the umpire's judgment, in doing so, interferes with the fielder taking the throw at first base, in which case the ball is dead except that he may run outside to the right of the 3-foot line or inside to the left of the foul line to avoid a fielder attempting to field a batted ball. So, flashing phrase there, umpire judgment. So let's look at some key points. First, it's in the last half of running to the first base, so in that 45-foot running line. The ball has to be fielded to first base. I've heard people say it's coming from the box. The box is that area, a little square, if you will, that goes from the pitcher's plate to the 45-foot line to the opposite side on third baseline to the plate. I've heard that area. But the ball has to be fielded to first base. And in the umpire's judgment, doing so interferes with the fielder taking the throw at first base. So that's also important. And then he may run outside of the running lane to avoid a fielder attempting to catch a batted ball. So what are the umpires looking for? Well, the throw is going to be coming from near or around the plate area, definitely from behind the runner. If it's coming from third base or shortstop and he's running on the inside, do we have interference? No, he's not interfering with that throw. Is he outside at that last stride? He's entitled to come in to touch the base. If he ran in the proper running lane the whole time and steps in for the last stride, he's entitled to that. So that would not be interference. However, even if he's hit on the last stride, if he was running inside the entire time, then we would have interference. So we need to judge as umpires whether the throw could have retired the runner. Could that throw have retired the runner? So as the catcher comes up with it and lobs it all the way out to right field, did we have interference? No, because it didn't interfere with the first baseman or the person covering first ability to catch the ball. So no, we did not have interference if he lobs it out to right field. And by being and outside the running lane, did he cause interference? So here's another one that is fairly easy to bust. It is not running lane interference anytime the runner is inside the foul line. So that is busted as well. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Quick Tips and Baseball Rules Myth Busting. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share our videos. Thank you very much, and see you on the next episode.